Developments in South suburban Dalton today. First, the state comptroller has suspended some payments to the village because it has failed to follow the law by providing financial reports.
Coming in, unfortunately, we knew it was going to be a little messy, but it's just something we felt important that had to be done, that should be done.
Tiffany Henyard, the embattled mayor of Dalton, Illinois, finds herself at the epicenter of an escalating scandal that's rattling the town to its very core. This time, the allegations are even more explosive, with rumors swirling around shocking new developments involving Henyard's former assistant-turned-whistleblower, Carmen Carlo. What started as a typical political crisis has now spiraled into something far darker, with fresh reports suggesting Henyard may have enlisted gang members to intimidate or even silence Carlo, the one person who allegedly knows all of Henyard's most dangerous secrets. The notion that a sitting mayor could be involved in such criminal behavior seems almost too outlandish to believe, more suited for a Hollywood thriller than real life. Yet, the bizarre and increasingly sinister nature of this situation in Dalton has caused many to wonder if anything is truly off-limits. Once a peaceful and unassuming town, Dalton has now been rocked by a series of scandals under Henyard's leadership, each more shocking than the last. From allegations of financial mismanagement to accusations of unethical spending, her leadership has come under intense scrutiny. But the latest twist threatens to push the crisis even further. Carmen Carlo, who was once Henyard's trusted confidant, has reportedly turned whistleblower, leaking explosive information that could expose the mayor to a range of illegal activities. However, rumors suggest Henyard's reaction to this betrayal has escalated far beyond political maneuvering, with claims that she hired gang members to silence Carlo. If these accusations hold any truth, they would cast Henyard in a startling new light, revealing a leader whose desperate attempts to preserve her political career may have driven her to criminal behavior. The people of Dalton are left stunned, struggling to process the bombshells that are dropping daily, and wondering whether Henyard will ever face consequences for her actions. As the investigation continues, residents are left with more questions than answers, and Dalton's future leadership is now more uncertain than ever. What was once a peaceful, stable community is now at the heart of a storm of corruption, betrayal, and even violence. And with the drama showing no signs of slowing down, the situation is far from over. Accusations of misconduct, unethical leadership, and improper conduct have severely eroded public trust in Henyard's administration. Critics, many of whom were already dissatisfied with her leadership style, now see Carmen Carlo's revelations as the tipping point. As fresh allegations of mismanagement and fiscal irresponsibility continue to surface at an alarming rate, the crisis has only deepened, raising serious concerns about accountability and transparency within Dalton's political system. As the scandal unfolds, it's clear that Carlo's actions have further complicated Henyard's already fragile reputation, and the trust between the mayor and her constituents appears irreparably shattered. Dalton's trustees, many of whom are scrambling to adapt to the rapidly changing political landscape, have been blindsided by the latest developments. Legal counsel has been enlisted to help manage the crisis as new questions and controversies emerge on a daily basis. The political climate in Dalton is evolving fast, with the town's leadership now in disarray. As the storm rages on, it remains to be seen whether Henyard will survive the fallout, or if this scandal will mark the end of her political career. The coming days will likely bring even more revelations, and the stakes have never been higher for Henyard, her former assistant, and the residents of Dalton.
One-day purchase of over $40,000 to Amazon. And the main thing is...
Carmen Carlisle, once a trusted assistant and confidant of Mayor Tiffany Henyard, has now become the center of a political storm in Dalton, Illinois. Her dramatic shift from loyal ally to whistleblower has sent shockwaves through the town's political scene, leaving both residents and officials questioning her motives and the far-reaching consequences of her revelations. To understand why Carmen's name is now at the heart of this controversy, it's essential to consider her once close relationship with Henyard. For a time, Carmen was deeply embedded in Henyard's inner circle, privy to some of the mayor's most sensitive dealings and decisions. As a key figure in the administration, she seemed to benefit from the perks that come with proximity to power. Many have suggested that Carmen may have even profited from questionable schemes, including the alleged misuse of city funds for personal gain. At first glance, it appeared Carmen was in the perfect position, enjoying the advantages of being close to the mayor amid public scrutiny of her administration. However, everything changed when Carmen made the stunning choice to betray her former boss. Instead of staying loyal, she chose to expose Henyard's actions, an act that many now view more as a move for self-preservation than a brave stand for justice. While some view Carmen as a whistleblower, courageously standing up against corruption, others accuse her of opportunism, claiming she only spoke out when it was in her best interest, once her role within Henyard's administration became untenable. Carmen's decision to come forward has had a profound impact, bringing to light a trove of damaging information that has only intensified the mounting controversies surrounding Henyard's leadership. These revelations have shaken the very foundations of Dalton's local politics, with accusations of financial misconduct, unethical leadership, and improper conduct now taking center stage in the unfolding scandal. Carmen's actions, while critical of Henyard, have painted a damning picture of the mayor's administration fueling the crisis and adding fuel to the fire. Critics of Henyard, many of whom were already frustrated with her leadership, see Carmen's disclosures as the tipping point. Fresh allegations of fiscal irresponsibility and mismanagement continue to surface, further eroding the public's trust in Henyard's leadership. As the drama surrounding Henyard's administration reaches new heights, it's clear that Carmen's revelations have only deepened the mayor's already fragile reputation, raising serious questions about accountability and transparency in Dalton's political system. Some view Carmen as a hero pushing for accountability in a town gripped by scandal, while others remain skeptical of her motivations, questioning whether her decision to speak out was driven more by self-preservation than a genuine desire to correct the wrongs she was once complicit in. Regardless of her intentions, Carmen's name is now inextricably tied to the controversies surrounding Henyard's administration, and Dalton's residents are watching these events unfold with increasing concern. Many are left wondering just how far the ripple effects of these revelations will extend, and whether it will alter the course of local politics forever. Dalton's trustees, many of whom were blindsided by these developments, are scrambling to decide on their next steps. Legal counsel has been enlisted to help navigate the rapidly shifting political landscape, as new questions and controversies continue to emerge daily. The political discourse in Dalton is rapidly changing, and it's clear that Carmen Carlisle's decision to speak out has sparked a firestorm that shows no signs of dying down. As the drama continues to unfold, Dalton finds itself in the midst of a political earthquake, with Henyard's leadership hanging in the balance. The coming days will undoubtedly bring even more revelations, and the stakes have never been higher for the embattled mayor, her former assistant, and the residents of Dalton. Compounding the crisis is a devastating investigation into the town's finances, revealing a catastrophic decline under Henyard's leadership. Dalton, once financially stable with a surplus of $561 million, now faces a staggering deficit of $365 million, further intensifying the crisis and leaving the town's future in question. Mayor Tiffany Henyard of Dalton, Illinois, now stands at the center of a political and legal storm of unprecedented proportions. With her political future hanging by a thread, The town that was once financially secure is now reeling from a $365 million deficit, a direct result of Henyard's poor financial management and questionable spending practices. Amid this financial turmoil, Henyard's leadership is under intense scrutiny, especially as her former assistant, Carmen Carlisle, has become a whistleblower testifying against her and threatening to bring down Henyard's entire political empire. Carmen's testimony has left Henyard rattled, as she knows all too well the dark secrets of Henyard's administration, having witnessed and participated in many of the questionable practices now under investigation. Carmen's insider knowledge makes her a powerful adversary, capable of exposing Henyard's corruption and potentially leading to criminal charges. This is no longer about political survival for Henyard. It's about avoiding serious legal consequences, including the possibility of jail time if Carmen's testimony proves accurate. The pressure on Henyard is mounting as she faces more than just Carmen's betrayal. Former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot has been hired to conduct a special investigation into Henyard's financial mismanagement. And despite Henyard's desperate attempts to block the probe, the town board has overruled her objections, allowing Lightfoot to move forward with the investigation. This investigation, combined with Carmen's bombshell testimony, has placed Henyard in an increasingly precarious position. Her efforts to suppress the truth are unraveling faster than she can control, and the stakes for her future are higher than ever. The town is at a crossroads, with Henyard's political and legal fate hanging in the balance. Despite the mounting evidence against her, Henyard continues to hold significant power in Dalton, seemingly untouched by the growing list of allegations. Many believe Henyard has maintained control through a mix of patronage, intimidation, and strategic alliances, keeping her allies close and her enemies at bay. However, a troubling theory has emerged suggesting that Henyard may have ties to the local criminal underworld. Rumors that gained traction after the alleged attack on Carmen Carlisle, her former assistant. As the investigation continues, Dalton is left wondering just how deep the corruption runs and whether Henyard's grip on power is as unshakable as it seems. The unraveling of Henyard's administration is setting the stage for a dramatic showdown, and Dalton's residents, desperate for answers, are anxiously awaiting the outcome. The future of the town hangs in the balance, with Henyard's political survival now uncertain. Tiffany Henyard, once a dominant figure in Dalton, Illinois, is now fighting for survival as both political and criminal forces close in on her. With her once unshakable grip on power weakening, the question arises: how far will Henyard go to protect herself and her legacy? As the legal and political storms intensify, the former mayor's fall from grace seems inevitable. Dalton stands at the brink of a new era, with its future uncertain and residents demanding accountability for the corruption and mismanagement that has plagued the town under Henyard's rule. The collapse of Dalton's leadership is becoming undeniable, and Carmen Carlisle, once a loyal ally of Henyard, has now turned whistleblower, shaking the political landscape to its core. Henyard's troubling misuse of taxpayer funds on personal indulgences, lavish shopping sprees, luxury vacations, first-class flights, and five-star hotels has raised serious concerns about her priorities and accountability. If Henyard was willing to squander public resources for her own pleasure, it's not far-fetched to imagine that she could go even further to protect her position, possibly using criminal elements or local gangs to silence anyone who threatens her authority. While these theories remain speculative, they don't seem entirely out of the question given the disturbing pattern of questionable spending, a clear lack of accountability, and the increasing violence surrounding her administration. As the investigation unfolds, rumors suggest that Henyard's influence may extend beyond just political maneuvering, possibly involving criminal networks to preserve her power. As federal investigators and local residents continue to uncover the full extent of Henyard's alleged wrongdoings, the question of how far she's willing to go to protect her power remains up in the air. With each passing day, the threat of more damaging revelations looms large, and the investigation draws closer to exposing the depths of Henyard's corruption. Henyard's financial mismanagement, particularly her extravagant spending habits, has already caused alarm. Reports detail her use of taxpayer money for lavish indulgences, more fitting for a celebrity than a small-town mayor. These revelations have sparked outrage in Dalton, with residents feeling their hard-earned tax dollars have been wasted on a lifestyle that benefits Henyard and provides no tangible improvements for the community. At the same time, Henyard's blatant disregard for accountability and her hostile attitude toward those who challenge her authority have alienated many. One resident summed up the growing frustration. "You are not accountable. You don't. Respect people who don't agree with you, and you're not qualified for that seat." This sentiment reflects the growing disillusionment with Henyard's leadership, and calls for her resignation are becoming louder by the day. Support for legal action and even a recall election to remove her from office is gaining momentum. Tension is palpable in Dalton, and residents are no longer willing to tolerate a mayor who runs roughshod over their concerns. People are demanding justice, and the atmosphere is charged with urgency as protests, petitions, and calls for Henyard's removal intensify. Once considered a relatively affluent and thriving town, Dalton is now burdened with significant debt and a growing population of frustrated residents. Many feel betrayed by a mayor who has mismanaged funds and violated their trust. While the ongoing FBI investigation has primarily focused on Henyard's financial dealings, it is uncovering much more than just fiscal mismanagement. It's revealing a deeper web of corruption in which public funds were allegedly diverted to finance Henyard's personal indulgences. With each new piece of evidence, calls for her resignation grow stronger. Many now believe that it's only a matter of time before she is removed from office, either through legal action or by the will of the people. As the walls close in around her, Henyard's attempts to maintain control have become increasingly desperate. The rising chorus of voices demanding justice is impossible to ignore, and the situation in Dalton has evolved into a high-stakes battle for the town's future. Henyard's grip on power is rapidly slipping, and the residents, tired of being sidelined and frustrated by years of corruption and mismanagement, are rallying together to demand change. Henyard's so-called super mayor reign may be coming to an end, as the people of Dalton stand united in their call for justice, accountability, and a government that genuinely serves the needs of its citizens. The residents of Dalton, Illinois, are determined to reclaim their town and restore integrity to their local government. As Henyard's political empire unravels amid mounting pressure from the community and ongoing investigations, her days in office seem numbered. The people of Dalton are no longer willing to stand by while their town is driven into the ground by a corrupt mayor. Federal investigators, state prosecutors, and even the Illinois Attorney General are now focusing on Dalton, signaling that Henyard's unchecked power is quickly unraveling. Despite the growing pressure, Henyard remains defiant, refusing to step down and dismissing all allegations as baseless attacks from political enemies and disgruntled former employees. However, the mounting evidence against her is making it increasingly difficult to deny the claims. One of the most dramatic shifts in the situation is Carmen Carlisle's transformation from loyal ally to whistleblower, further complicating Henyard's position. Carlisle's actions have raised the stakes, expanding the investigation and drawing attention to everyone involved. Opinions on Carlisle's role are divided. Some see her as a true whistleblower, but others question her motives, suggesting that she may have struck a deal with authorities to avoid prosecution. This view casts doubt on whether Carlisle's shift is a noble act of conscience or simply a self-preservation move to avoid being implicated in the wrongdoing. The situation in Dalton has grown even more complex, now involving not just Henyard, but a network of individuals who either enabled her actions or turned a blind eye. As the investigation continues to unfold, it seems likely that more people will be implicated alongside Henyard. While some continue to label Carlisle a hero, others argue that her motivations are self-serving, questioning whether she's genuinely trying to expose corruption or simply protecting herself from legal repercussions. With more former allies of Henyard coming forward with accusations, it appears that Henyard's alleged corruption may have been far-reaching, involving many others in her administration. The pressure is mounting, and Dalton residents are demanding accountability for the mayor's financial mismanagement, misuse of public funds, and arrogant disregard for their concerns. The anger and betrayal felt by the community are palpable, and many wonder whether Henyard will ultimately face the consequences of her actions. The situation is rapidly reaching a tipping point, and it seems inevitable that Henyard's time in office is coming to an end. Whether she will be removed through legal action or by the will of the people remains uncertain. But one thing is clear. The people of Dalton are no longer willing to tolerate a corrupt mayor running their town into the ground. As for Carmen Carlisle, the question remains, is she a genuine whistleblower, or is she simply looking out for herself? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain. The drama in Dalton is far from over, and the town's future now hangs in the balance.